What's up, brothers and sisters? Arkham is here, and this video is all about E3, so let's get started, shall we? I watched all of E3's press conferences, and I have to say that there were disappointing, surprising, and amazing moments. Definitely one of the best E3s I've ever seen. In this video, I have a collection of games for you, and I will talk about each one of them. They are all from E3 and they were my favorite titles in the event. Remember that I might be missing some titles here because I either forgot to mention them or they were basically not my kind of games. I hope that you enjoy this video and subscribe to see more contents of these games. Arma 3 showed their new train that they are working on. We know that Arma has one of the best graphics in games nowadays. I can't wait to see their new terrain pack. And look at their beautiful creativity, especially military-wise. Maybe there will be a new faction, new units like tanks and military units. By the looks of the trailer, we can already say that there are some new air and sea civilian units, but as for military units, we can only hope. With this new terrain pack, Arma is adding island warfare to its Warzone collection. They are really good with designing the maps. I really have high hopes for this new terrain. Another kind of warfare is also added to this pack, and this one exists within the islands themselves, and that is jungle warfare. With its thick forests, we can immerse ourselves in a totally new kind of close-range combat. Arma 3 has one of the biggest modding communities, and you can only imagine what they can do with this new terrain. Maybe we will see parrots soon, or some T-Rexes, mate. Simply put, Arma is the best military simulation out there. As we all know, Assassin's Creed games can be very repetitive at times. A new AC each year, the repetitive secondary missions, and the repetition that I had to do each time I traveled to a new city really took me away from the Assassin's Creed series. But by the looks of this new Syndicate one, looks like they changed a lot. You're now in a much more advanced era, the era of trains and carriages, guns and rope launchers as they call it, grappling hook. You won't be spending a lot of time climbing buildings anymore thanks to the the rope launcher. Looks like they brought a lot of features from Far Cry into the AC series. We have to deal with gangs and gang territories in this new one. Remember taking out outposts in Far Cry and making them your own territory? That's what I see in Syndicate, especially when I saw the carriages ramming into each other. I immediately thought of Far Cry's car ramming. However, I really like these changes as I'm a big fan of Far Cry. I wish they could get rid of repetition in this new Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Next up, we have Adrift. This is one of the games that I'm still not sure about, as there are not a lot of information about it out there. It looks gorgeous, and it's set in my favorite environment, which is space. That's all I know. Knights, sword fights, and looking great. It kind of reminds me of Spartans back in PlayStation 2 days. I can't really tell how it will turn out, as not a lot of these kinds of games are out there. I guess only time can tell. This game really depends on teamwork, and games like these, the community that plays the game makes it fun or not. The community decides the outcome. It looks much like Kingdom Come Deliverance, but with a heavy focus on combat, not the RPG elements. Call of Duty has always been one of my favorite game series of all time, and Call of Duty 4 was the game that really brought me into competitive gaming. With Black Ops 3's trailer or any other Call of Duty's trailer, one thing I'm sure of, the single player will rock. Call of Duty have earned my trust when it comes to single player. They are really creative when it comes to mission design and know what they are doing. As for the multiplayer, I still prefer Call of Duty 4's multiplayer because of its simplicity. There are a few reasonable perks and airstrikes to choose from. Unlike today's Call of Duties, I really look forward to playing Black Ops 3 and see their single player creativity this time. As for changes in Call of Duty games, yes, you're right, almost all of the Call of Duties look like the same. But that is what it takes to stay as COD. Looks like they really emphasize on walking on the walls in this trailer. I have to say that I still haven't played the previous Deus Exes, but this game looks really interesting. I like the graphics and the freedom of action that it gives you. I can't really say much about it as I haven't played it yet, but it sure looks interesting. I love the first-person shooters, so I'll surely check it out. The guns look unique to the game. it's not like something you see every day. Now this was a surprise. Zero Dawn has a great storyline and very interesting gameplay mechanics. I loved everything about dinosaurs, and now we have robotic dinosaurs? I have to say that I still prefer dinosaurs over these robotic ones, but I don't know if my perspective changed after playing this game. I'm glad that I bought a PS4 instead of an Xbox One because of exclusives like these. It looks gorgeous for a PS4 game. This was definitely one of my favorite E3 surprises. I really wish that it offers an open world to explore instead of missions. I think that the engine they're using is the same as the one that they used for Killzone, which is absolutely beautiful. Again, one of those games with not a lot of information on. This is one of those games that give me shivers not for its look, but for its ideology. Every time I watch the trailer, it leaves me shaking with questions that no man can answer. I used to love the Hitman series, but with all these new titles coming out, it kind of lost its way. Hitman offers a lot of different tactical approaches and fresh ideas. I love the sandbox perspective, looks great, but is it fun? I don't know what's wrong with the game, but even with all those great features, I still can't enjoy it. Is it the music, the story, the environment? I still don't know, and I really hope that I can enjoy this one, unlike the previous one. Dishonored is a Hitman-style assassination game with freedom of movement and dark magic powers. I personally love stealth games, and that's why Dishonored is in this video. It offers a unique world and a story of its own. I wish the characters were realistic, as I love the realism in games, but it doesn't matter. It is still a good game. Being a magical assassin is not something familiar. Just Cause was always one of my favorite games. I finished the previous titles and they were great. It offers a great open world with tons of cars, planes, helicopters, boats and motorcycles. But what makes Just Cause special is the destruction and explosion. With Just Cause 3, almost everything is destructible. Thinking of flooding a village, aren't you? It looks gorgeous and kind of reminds me of the golden days of Mercenaries back on PlayStation 2. With the grappling hook, you can fly or make things fly. Just Cause is one-of-a-kind open-world sandbox that emphasizes on fun instead of realism. With its unique new physics system, every time you destroy something, it will look different compared to your previous destructions. I cannot wait to get my hands on this game. The digital version, of course. I just want you to think of two things here. Imagine Skyrim without magic and on CryEngine. Enough said. By the way, the game is in early access state right now. The question is this another version of Rage? It sure looks not, and I hope that it is not. What I love about Mad Max is that it takes place in a Fallout-like world, but instead of focusing on what Fallout focuses on, Mad Max emphasizes on cars, something that Fallout wants to avoid. My vision of Mad Max is basically Fallout with cars. I loved Mass Effect 1 and 2. I never really played Mass Effect 3 because I was bored of the universe. I really hope that we could explore planets and find out things that the universe hasn't found yet. I would love to see what kinds of change they bring to this new title. I just hope that they are done with the old story. I fell in love with Metal Gear when I played Metal Gear 4 on PlayStation 3. It looks absolutely beautiful back in its time. I absolutely love the path that Metal Gear took, which is the path of open world gaming. I think you already know how much I love open world games, and I really want to add this game to my collection. I love its emphasis on military aspects, and I hate the unrealistic parts of it. I can't wait to build my own base and upgrade it to the top, just like Clash of Clans. Reasons why I'm dying to play this game? Space combat, space exploration, planets, planet explorations, on-foot combat and infinite space. The thing that blows my mind is the team behind the engine. 10 team members behind such a huge engine. The engine randomly generates every planet and every living being on that planet. No two planets will be the same. It's madness to even think about it. If they release this game with nothing but exploration, I would still get it because the way they generate the world is like nothing I've ever seen. If you're looking for a game that can't be finished within a human lifetime, then this game is for you. I have to say that Siege looks great, and the gameplay is great, and everything is great about it, but this is one of those games that totally depend on the community, as teamwork is essential. It's a game that can be epic and awful at the same time, depending on the match that you're in. The way they showcase the game is amazing, but we all know that players will not be playing the game that way. That is why I'm afraid of saying anything good or bad about it. I really hope that it turns out as good and as competitive as Counter-Strike, a game that drives clans into clan wars. I look at Star Citizen as a much smaller yet much more detailed No Man's Sky. These guys are looking for quality over quantity and emphasize much more on first-person combat. It looks fabulous. Everything from characters to ships in space look absolutely gorgeous. I kind of see it as a space simulator on an Arma level. That's how detailed things will be in this game. What this game can do and others won't is that you can go to an enemy's ship and have close quarter combat on the ship, on your foot, in first person, and still looking astonishing. I can't wait to destroy or team up in space. Just like Call of Duty, DICE has earned my trust with their multiplayer shooters. Frostbite looks unbelievable. I am not a Star Wars fan myself, but with their game I have to say that it is one of my favorite E3 demos. That's just how amazing it is. Star Wars Battlefront is the best Star Wars game that I've seen so far. But I'm going to stop talking about it now, and I want to hear some of your Star Wars fans' opinions about the game. Players can walk, mount, drive, fly and swim in a fabulous way. What else could they need? Again, let me just say that I'm not a fan of superheroes. I like their movies, but all their games suck. My statement about the games was true until the Batman series started. As far as I know, the only good superhero game out there is this series. I will give it a go, as this time it has cars. When you have an open world with drivable cars, it means one thing. The world is huge. Otherwise, the developers just wouldn't give you anything fast to go around with. The world of Batman is not only beautiful, it offers a clean and clear combat that is hard to find nowadays in games. I'm not super excited about the game because, you know, superpowers. The more realistic a game is, the more I like it. I can't really say much about Uncharted, as I never really played any of them because I didn't have a PS3. I always liked the series and the graphics were always above average for their times. I'll get both this and the collection that comes to PlayStation 4 because I know about the quality of Naughty Dog's games. What can I say? I love adventure games. Most of you probably know more about this game, so I'm just gonna shut up about it. The Division is Ubisoft's online RPG. I don't need to mention the game's beauty, so I'm just going to talk about the other things that matter. The game is just like DayZ or ISS, but without zombies and some other differences. So far I don't know if you need food and water to survive or not, but there is definitely a lot of looting and shooting. However, I'm personally worried quite a bit about how the game might turn out. As you can see from the video, everyone has a number next to their name and that is their level, just like Witcher 3. If you face someone with a higher level, you're basically effed as you deal less damage. Why do I not like this? Because it takes away from the realism. You have to put 2 mags into someone to kill him. It's ridiculous. I really hope that I'm wrong about this, as I absolutely love the look of the game and gameplay perspective from the other aspects, such as looting and teamwork. The game as a whole reminds me a lot of ISS from the PvP aspect. I really want this game to be something unique, showing health bars and leveling are somewhat okay in a single player game. But for multiplayer games like this, I don't think it's a good idea. This was by far the biggest surprise of E3 for me. Imagine Metal Gear Phantoms without the advanced bullshit in it. Ghost Recon's beautiful world going open, it blew my mind. You have cars, motorcycles, helicopters, God knows what else. Its mission has multiple ways to accomplish, just like Metal Gear. I just wish for one thing, full-on first-person mod. They already have first-person when you shoot from a covered position, but I don't know if they allow you to go first-person beyond that. Thank you Ubisoft for reviving this epic game. This is definitely on my watch list. One thing that I really want is a base that we can upgrade as we finish objectives. Buy new cars, gadgets, and awesomeness. And of course, we always keep the best for the last. What can I say? The Apocalypse. Fallout 4 came back with even more detailed gameplay, hundreds of new locations and environments, post and past the nuclear war, amazing creativity with NPCs and places, dark humor in a dead world, adding more purposes for looting, crafting hundreds of guns, crafting houses and entire villages, running caravans from one of your villages to the other, having your own store, a unique world for each one of you, character customization to the bones, vertebrate bomb runs, vaults filled with unique stories, hundreds of creatures, power armor flying and upgrading, gaming on your Pip-Boy, farming and food growing, settlement security systems, electricity generators, improvements all over the game. Bethesda always delivers great worlds to explore with hundreds of stories. Those were just a few features of the upcoming game, Fallout 4. They made a lot of changes to their creation engine, and the most noticeable ones are physical-based rendering and dynamic volumetric lighting. These two major changes really affect the core elements of modding. Oh, modding! Did you know that people are still modding Fallout 3? Yes, Fallout 3. It came out back in 2008. Modders will never let go of this game and will eventually add hundreds of hours of exploring, hundreds of hours of new guns and quests. With this new engine, the opportunities are limitless. However, there's one thing that I wish was different, and that's the graphics. The graphics look great, but they are artistic, not realistic. However, even like that, if I could only buy one game this year, it would definitely be Fallout 4. And those, my friends, were the games that amazed me at E3. I wonder what your favorite games were at E3. Let me know what the best games were for you. Until my next video.